Peace, family. Islam. It's your brother Cool. So, I'm working late at night. Um, and first of all, I just want to say thank you and appreciation to everyone who is a faithful subscriber to the university, who finds the information useful and who's applying the information. You know what I'm saying? That's the main reason why I put this particular page up, and I made it more private because it's I feel like it's my responsibility that as I gain this information to share it. You know what I'm saying? These different processes and how to go about doing things as Native Americans. So, um, you know, so essentially, with that being said, the best thing that I could do is just explain exactly where my point of view comes from. You know what I'm saying? Give me a second. All right. Well, you have children, so from time to time you may have to go and put on the daddy hat. Okay. So, there's a lot of things that um, people may utilize in the wrong aspect or with the wrong intention. So this is why, like I said, I put this particular page up to show people how to go about doing things on the private side, but also laying the true history. Because as I'm gaining the history, I'm sharing it. All right. So first and foremost, before I even go into this PowerPoint presentation, a lot of the information I gained, I have to say, was from the archaeological work from various sources. But before all that, I have to thank brother Ishmael Bey. Ishmael Bay. I actually got wind of him on Morse World TV. I don't really get into all the hype, but I do watch my other brothers and sisters pages. You know what I'm saying? This is a learning lesson for me. I don't really need to get caught up in the hype of going back and forth, but wherever I find good information, I found good information there. So I'm real neutral with that because I know where I stand and I know how I'm moving and how I need to move. So with that being said, brother Ishmael Bey laid out some heavy stuff, man. And I have to say, it put the nail in the coffin. It really put the nail in the coffin, especially in reference to our national headdress, our fez, and where it comes from. Because a lot of the stories would be all, we got we got the fez from the Turks. The Turks gave us the fez and stuff like that, or the fez came from the Europeans. That's their hat. It's not our headdress. You know what I'm saying? Or the people who betrayed us, who sold the Africans into slavery, are the Moors, and they're identified by the headdress. And I just want, and this information right here puts a nail in the coffin in a lot of things. A lot of things. So before we can go into that, and various scholars and archaeologists, you know what I'm saying, who did their thing. Ruth Raleigh being one. All right. And various others. I can't say that I sat here and I really dug deep into the archaeologists. They kind of do what they do. I appreciate them for their work. There's a lot more of them than us at this particular point during the archaeological research. So I do think the work where the work is being done. So with that, we're gonna break down and go into the oldest civilization in America. The oldest civilization in America. And I'm talking about older than the Olmecs. Older than the Olmecs. Older than the Olmecs. Essentially, they say that the Washita was here let's see, about 1,000 years, 2,000 years before Christ. Well, this particular civilization was in existence about 26 to 20 BCE. That's 20,000 years. All right, 20,000 years before Christ. So it's crazy, yo. But we're just gonna go into it. And a lot of the things, the spells that people have about Moors, who are Moors, you know, where can I go find in the ancient writings where I can find more, or where can I find on the walls that more is written? You know what I'm saying? To talk about us, the high priest of Anu. Well, here we go. We're gonna get right into this lecture. Oh, and you know, before anything, I'm a big supporter of the herb. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. A lot of the stuff when I started, man, it was a lot of YouTube and it was a lot of herb. And it was my notebooks, my little pads and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? By the way, these are good reads I think people should get into. You understand what I'm saying? You should get into that. You should get into that. Alright? You should also get into this. That's the man who wrote the Zodiac Constitution, C.M. Bay. The Zodiac Constitution was written and filed and ratified in the Library of Congress in 1947. All right, that's also a good read. Another good read. And excuse me if you see me looking, if I'm looking in this direction, because I got two screens. So the camera is on top of this screen, so I know it's looking at me, but I can see myself looking at that screen. So that screen is how I'm telling if I'm getting a good visual. But another good read. Very, very good read. I'll be honest, I'm just getting into this book. But it made its way to my psyche, so it's about that time. Another good read. Let's see if you have to see it. All right. This book is about 600 pages. Moorish Empire. So, that being said, the Moorish Empire. What is the Moorish Empire, and whom does the Moorish Empire consist of? Well, that's an easy question. The Moorish Empire consists of Moors. Who are Moors? Moors are melanated people, peoples of the land. Moor is synonymous with land. You know what happens in 9 months when a baby's being developed in a mom's stomach? That's called mooring. All right? That's why we're the navigators of the 7 seas, the 7 chakras, because we all got a mother who went through her 7 chakras to be created. She was mooring us into existence. So thus we are Moors, because we are the land. We are walking, talking, breathing land. We consist of air, we consist of water, we consist of fire, and we consist of earth. Air being the breath that we breathe, the water being the blood in our veins, the earth being the body, and the fire being the electricity that's running through our central nervous system, right, as impulses. Because literally, electrical signal is going to my brain to make my arm do that. That's electricity happening. That's a circuit. My brain's making my body because the circuits are connected. All right. Same thing. My brain is telling my mouth to say these words or to formulate these words that are in thought through this particular instrument, right? So just to get that wrapped up. So we're gonna get right into this PowerPoint. All right. We're gonna go from there. Man. All right. First off, we're just gonna go right into it. Moor by nature and nationality. Oldest hieroglyphic of the name Moors is found where? In the Temple of Luxor, Tamure, so-called Egypt or Kamat. Source by Dr. Muwata Ashby. Neter Meri. In the Kamian teaching of devotional love, God is termed Meri. I'm going to say that one more time. God is termed Meri, M-E-R-R-I, Mer, Mer-A, Mer-E, Mer-E. You know vowels are interchangeable, so that could be Meru, Mero. You know what I'm saying? So, also meaning beloved one, which would be another title I could say for Ali, right? Most praised. All life came from the black waters of Nu, called space or the neutron soup or the Neteru or Neteru, which is where Negro is derived from etymologically. So this right here is the symbol of more. This is what more. That's how you spell more. Okay? More, which means God. More means God. Who created the land? God, right? Okay. I'm just trying to hit certain switches to kill certain distractions or like parasites that might be trying to infiltrate the thought pattern by trying to bring in doubt as to whether we are who our ancestors are without doubt or contradiction. No, 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 no. We're not gonna play these games, right? So that being said, we'll move on to the next slide. Oh, can you get with the program here? Now, another spell I want to break. If you didn't know any better, you would say that's a Y-A-H, which spells Yah, which also would be synonymous with Yahweh, right? The tetra, the tetra, metatetra, you know what I'm saying? That thing, or Yah. But this is not Yah. That's actually the formula for DNA. The formula for DNA spells out Y-A-H, Yah, right? So when you're talking about Yahweh, you're actually talking about your DNA. Look at it very clearly. This is what your DNA looks like in an algorithm. All right, this is what the DNA looks like. So the DNA spells out Yah. All right, scientifically, mathematically, that's what's happening with the DNA. So as far as all that is happening, that's about as far as that goes. There's no big spookiness into that. It really is quite that simple. Yahweh is the DNA. Yahweh is the formula for DNA. Okay, so your DNA is God because your DNA is you. Your DNA is your ancestors. So if you bear that DNA, then you are your ancestors. That's the whole point and picture of Yah. All right, Y-A-H spells out your DNA. All right, I want that to sink into the brain. Yah, Y-A-H, means your DNA. So when it says to know thyself, or seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, you need to seek yourself first. Seek your history. Seek understanding about who you are. Know thyself. And you'll get in touch with Yahweh because Yahweh is your DNA. Bang, bang. Next. Okay, now we get into the nitty gritty. Karal Supe, all right? Ancient American civilization. So these are some of the things we're going to be covering, all right? The 5,000-year-old pyramid city. Geographic location, Peru, South America. Establishment, 2600 BCE. Oh, excuse me, I said 20,000 years prior, right? That'll be 2600, pardon me. So that's 2600 BCE. That's before Christ's era. This is when this ancient civilization came into, or I should say the ancient people started building. They started building the ancient civilization in 2600 BCE. So the timeline goes, the first construction started in 2600 BCE. Then the structures got enlarged in 2300 BCE. Then certain things got changed, so it got reconstructed, right, or reorganization in 2200 BCE. Then it got remodeled, meaning they made some amendments here and there. Some things got changed, all right, in 2100 BC. And then by 1800 BC, it was abandoned. Okay? It was abandoned. So One thing we should be clear about is that when you look at the ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia, um, they go as far back as 10,000 BCE. So you have to understand when you're going from the BCE before Christ, it's literally counting from highest to lowest. So this is why it's going from 2600 BC to 2300 BC to 22, 21. So essentially, the lower it goes, that's the longer period. That's what happens when you're going from BCE era. You got to count the time backwards. You're going from largest to smallest. And then when it goes past like AD era, then you're going from smallest to largest. All right? You got to comprehend that so you can know how to count the days properly. So the Mesopotamian civilizations or in Africa started about those ancient civilizations came about in 10,000 BC. I'm talking about 2600 BC. That's at least 1600 years prior to Mesopotamia. Okay? So this is deep, y'all, and this is in America. This ain't in Africa. This is over here. The 5,000-year-old pyramid city. I want you to have a good look at this. All right? Have a good look at this, man. And of course, all my PowerPoints are available for purchase. They are available for 10 notes. If anyone would like a zip file of the PowerPoint so that they can go through it at their own leisure, it's a nice thing to have these PowerPoints too because you can print them out so you can actually make your own books out of these PowerPoints. But my thing is, these computers ain't going to be around forever. When the time comes that things begin to happen, we want to make sure we have all the information in some type of physical form so that we can still hold on to it. All right, so that it just doesn't go off into the wind with the technology. All right. So this is what the ancient civilization of Karle Supe is. We're going to go deeper into what it consists of and what the civilization was like. But I want you to soak in these photos. Soak it in. Soak it in. Soak it in. Okay? Soak it in. And understand who we are. Because this headdress right here is copyrighted by America. All right? This national headdress known as the fez is or anciently known as the tarbush is copyrighted by America. America. America, America. This fez came from America. It didn't come from Turkey. It didn't come from the Ottoman Empire. It didn't come from North. It didn't come from North Africa. It came from right here in the Maghreb al-Aqsa. All right, Morocco, the extreme west. Right here, this fez originates. So soak in these photos, man. Soak in. This is an overview of of the civilization in Karle. So if you go right here, this is the little dome. So this is where people will come in to chill out the court. So if you were performing, you would be standing in the center of the court while people would be sitting around you observing. Okay? And then at nighttime, they would light a lamp here in the center. So it would literally look like a symbol of a Min Ra at nighttime. All right? But essentially, their civilization consisted of plazas. And around those plazas, they built pyramids. What you mean plaza? Like a mall plaza? Yeah, if you go to a mall plaza right now, you see how sophisticated and how complex it looks? That ain't nothing new. This is where it came from. We talking about 2600 BCE. 2,600 years before Christ. Okay? So, with that being said, it just gets deeper and deeper, family. All right? So just look at how sophisticated we built things and how we survived and how we lived and coexisted. Here's another over-top shot from a slightly different angle. Our ancestors was deep, man. They were really, really deep in the science and the mathematics. They didn't play, man. They didn't play. This is going down from that court, like I was saying before. Another picture. You could just see how much work went into building this, man. This is crazy, yo. So right now we're looking at the oldest civilization in America, by the way. This, as of this date, this is the oldest civilization discovered so far in America. All right? This is what we're breaking down right now. The oldest civilization in America. Where the civilization began? This one right here. As far as science can prove, until we can find earlier civilizations that go further back than that. But as of right now, this is the oldest civilization we have. This is it right here. All right. Corral spawns 19 other temple complexes scattered across the 35 square miles area of the Supe Valley. The find of the Quipu indicates that the later Inca Empire preserved some cultural continuity from the Corral civilization. Right. The date of 2627 BCE is based on carbon dating reed and woven carrying bags that were found in situ. These bags were used to carry the stones that were used for the construction of the temples. The material is an excellent candidate for dating, thus allowing for a high precision. The site may date even earlier as samples from the oldest parts of the excavation have yet to be dated. So they haven't even carbon dated the entire site yet. But what they've carbon dated so far, meaning those bags that they were being used to carry those bricks to build the civilization, those go back 2627 BCE. The town had a population of approximately 3,000 people. Okay? However, there are 19 other sites in the area posted at Corral, allowing for a possible total population of 20,000 people for the Supe Valley. All of these sites in the Supe Valley share similarities with Corral. They had small platforms and stone circles. Shady 2001 believes that Corral was the focus of this civilization, which itself was part of an even vaster complex, trading with the coastal communities in the regions further inland, as far as the Amazon, if the depiction of monkeys is any indication. That means we was getting that working early, y'all. Don't worry, there's pictures of and there's statues and there's images. So trust me, it's gonna get good. Thank you, brother Ishmael. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I gotta say thank you, brother Tahaka, for having brother Ishmael on the platform to lay that out. Thank you for that. That was big right there. And it's crazy. I know it's neutral because he was showing Taharka things that Taharka didn't know. Taharka had to bow out on a lot of things that he studied. And Ishmael Bey studied up, he got into the information through Taj, and he continued his own studies and work and research. And so that's why I respect Ishmael Bey, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not fronting like he didn't get the information or he's not learning. You know what I'm saying? Now, Corral was inhabited roughly between the 26th and 20th centuries BCE, enclosing an area of more than 60 hectares, which would be 150 acres. Corral was described by its excavators as the oldest urban center in the Americas, a claim that was later challenged as other ancient sites were found nearby, such as Banduria, Peru. Accommodating more than 3,000 inhabitants, it is the best studied and one of the largest northern Chico sites known. Paul Kosok discovered Corral in 1948, but it received little attention at the time because it appeared to lack many typical artifacts that were sought at archaeological sites throughout the Andes at the time. In 1975, the Peruvian architect Carlos Williams made a detailed record of most of the archaeological sites of the Valley of Supe, among which he recorded Corral, from which he made some observations about the development of architecture in the Andes. Ruth Shady, let me get that right, her name is Ruth Shady. Ruth Shady further explored the 4,000 to 46,000 year old city of temples in the Peruvian desert, with its elaborate complex of temples and amphitheater and ordinary houses. The urban complex is spread out over 150 acres and contains plazas and residential buildings. Corral was a thriving metropolis at roughly the same time that Egypt's Great Pyramids were being built. It's all right. I'm going to read that line one more time just so it marinates. Corral was a thriving metropolis at roughly the same time that Egypt's Great Pyramids were being built. Corral is the largest recorded site in the Andean region, which with dates older than 2000 BCE, and appears to be the model for the urban design adopted by Andean civilizations that rose and fell over the span of 4 millennia. It is believed that Corral may answer questions about the origins of the Andean civilizations and the development of the first cities. Among the artifacts found at Corral are a knotted textile piece that the excavators have labeled a quipu. They argued that the artifact is evidence that the quipu record-keeping system, a method involving knots tied in rope that was brought to perfection by the Inca Empire, was older than any archaeologist had previously guessed. Evidence has emerged that the quipu may also have recorded logographic information in the same way writing does. Gary Urton has suggested that the quipus used a binary system which could record phonological or logographic data. So as you can see, he was very advanced and still very technological, even in 2600 BCE. So the image of like, yo, when we go back into history and like, yo, man, we weren't that technological. We gotta erase that. We actually gotta think that back then we were more technological. We were using more of our brain capacity. We understood more about the earth. We understood more about what we needed to thrive, what environments we needed. We knew more about that back then than we do now. All right? It's real, man. So here's a picture of essentially what Corral Soupe, looks like in its prime. This is beautiful, man. This is beautiful. South America, yo. South America. That's all South America. You already know more. I spark up. It's all good, man. Bless up to the ancestors. Bless up to the ancestors. Oh, I'm sorry, you're in a rush. I'm not in a rush. So I'm just taking my time. It's always nice to stop in between and digest what's been absorbed. Take some time to let it go, hit you. So essentially now there's proof that the early civilizations wasn't just popping in so-called Africa, okay? There were civilizations over here in existence around the same time, if not earlier. So now that brings a whole nother dimension into the whole scenario. So pretty much with that, you understand that there was old civilizations happening at both sides, meaning that there was people over in so-called Africa and there was people over here at the same time. At the same time. So if there's people on both sides at the same time, both building civilizations at the same time, how can you say that we really came from Africa? And don't get it twisted. I know that the entire planet, when all the continents were together, is called Asia. I'm fully aware of that. I know I'm an Asiatic. I know I'm still on. I know I'm on Asia. Question is, do you know you on Asia? So this whole heavy leaning on Africa. We came from Africa. Everything started in Africa. We got to start easing up. We got to stop leaning on Africa so hard, right? We need to start paying attention to where our feet is at. and realize who we are. Straight up. Pardon me, I didn't even read that one. It is widely taught in the field of ancient history that Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, and India gave rise to the first civilizations of mankind. However, few are aware that at the same time, and in some cases before some of these societies emerged, another great civilization had sprouted. The Norte Chico civilization of Supe, Peru, the first known civilization of the Americas. The first known civilization of the Americas. Their capital was the sacred city of Caral. A 5,000-year-old metropolis complete with complex agricultural practices, rich culture, and monumental architecture, including 6 large pyramidal structures, stone and earthen platform mounds. They was using stone and they was making stone and earth mounds. I'm talking about this is way before the Mississippian culture, but now you have an idea where they got that from, right? 6 large pyramidal structures, stone and earthen platform mounds, temples, amphitheater, sunken circular plazas, and residential areas. Come on now. Come on now. We've been doing this, yo. We've been doing this. The Supe Valley, which lies 200 miles north of Lima on the Peruvian Pacific coast, was surveyed in 1905 by the German archaeologist Max Uhle, who revealed the first archaeological discoveries in the area. However, it was not until several decades later that full-scale excavations took place. Because remember, it was initially discovered in 1948. So it took this long just to uncover it by this man, Max Uhle, the archaeologist, who revealed the first archaeological discoveries in the area. However, it was not until several decades later that full-scale excavations took place, revealing the tip of a very large iceberg in the 1970s. Iceberg. In the 1970s, archaeologists discovered that the hills originally identified as natural formations were actually stepped pyramids, and by the 1990s, the full extent of the great city of Caral had emerged. But another great surprise was yet to come. In the year 2000, radiocarbon dating carried out on real carrying bags found at the site revealed that Caral dated back to the late Archaic period, beginning around 3000 BC. Caral had now provided the most extensive evidence of an early complex society in the Americas. Caral is one of the 18 settlements, identified in the Supe Valley, covering an area of around 65 hectares, which is 150 acres. Okay? It is situated on a dry desert terrace overlooking the lush valley of the Supe River. Exceptionally well preserved, the site is impressive in terms of its design and the complexity of its architecture. The city's plan and some of its features, including pyramidal structures and residence of the elite, show clear evidence of ceremonial functions, signifying a powerful religious ideology. It gets deeper, y'all. The center of the Caral complex consists of a central public area with 6 large pyramids, platform mounds, arranged around a huge plaza. The largest of the mounds, located in a dominating position within the urban plan of Caral, is 60 feet high and measures 450 by 500 feet at the base, covering an area nearly the size of 4 football fields. From the top of the Great Pyramid, the rulers of Caral would have been able to monitor the entire city. A 29-foot wide staircase opens into a series of small rooms, which include an atrium and a sacred altar. The altar room has a small hole in the floor, in which it appears that offerings were once burned. The public architecture has stairs, rooms, courtyards, an amphitheater, and 3 sunken plazas. A Accommodation seems to have consisted of large rooms atop the pyramids for the elite, ground-level complexes for craftsmen, and small outlying dwellings for workers. In total, it estimated that Corral was home to a population of about 3,000 people. Researchers believe the model of the city was used by many civilizations that came after the Norte Chico. In 2001, the sacred city of Corral in Supe was inscribed on UNESCO's World Heritage List. UNESCO writes, the sacred city of Corral, Supe, reflects the rise of civilization in the Americas. As a fully developed socio-political state, it is remarkable for its complexity and its impact on developing settlements throughout the Supe Valley and beyond. The design of both the architectural and spatial components of the city is masterful, and the monumental platform mounds and recessed circular courts are powerful and influential expressions of a consolidated state. So they was already building states in 2600 BCE. No trace of warfare has been found in Corral. No battlements, no weapons, no mutilated bodies. Ruth Shady's findings suggest it was a gentle society, built on commerce and pleasure. In one of the temples, they uncovered 32 flutes made of condor and pelican bones, and 37 cornets of deer and llama bones. One find revealed the remains of a baby, wrapped and buried with a necklace made of stone beads. In 2000, Marco Makakue, the chief of excavations at the time, and his colleague Rocio Aramburu discovered a large shape etched on the ground in circular stone lines near Corral. This image, known as a geoglyph, is located on the desert floor just west of the main site at Corral. When traced out, the lines formed the design of a human face with long streaming hair and a gaping mouth. This geoglyph is similar to the streaming, bleeding figures found etched onto the stone walls at a site called Cerro Sechin in the Cosma Valley, 150 miles to the north. It is unclear what exactly this figure means, but it is believed to have been constructed around the same time as Corral and to have been associated with a nearby ceremonial site known as Chupa Cigarro. Another notable find on the site was a collection of musical instruments, including 37 cornets made of deer and llama bones and 33 flutes of unusual construction. The flutes were radiocarbon dated to 2170 BCE, plus or minus 90. So essentially, plus or minus 90. So that's either about 2270, or about 2070, or about 19 and change BCE. Now, we're getting into some of the pictures on the stones, okay? This right here is my particular favorite. I want you to analyze this really well, really ingest this carving. And I can tell you right now, off bat, the thing that sticks out to me is what the ancestor has on his head or her head, which looks like a fez. Know what I'm saying? Looks like the ancestor got this on their head. And we talking about 2600 BCE. This is before Turkey, before the Ottoman Empire, before any of that. And this ain't North Africa. This is America. Look at that fez. Crazy, right? This kills all stereotypes against Moors. You know what I'm saying? Our culture. So as you can see, we are our ancestors without doubt and contradiction. Okay? So yeah, thank you again, Brother Ishmael Bey. The fez comes from America, man. This is an American headdress. Okay? undeniable, unmistakable. Look at that. See the fez? See the fez? See the fez? You see it? Ain't that crazy? From another angle, look at the fez, man. Look at what our ancestors wore. This is 2600 BCE, man. This is around the same time Mesopotamia, Egypt, Kemet. This is around the same time, if not earlier, man. Look at that. We talk. This is America. We're not in Africa. This is right here, home. We was here. We was here. So that gives me uh, um, more affirmance that this is ancient Egypt. This is ancient Kemet. It all started here, man. This is the heartland Africa. The writing's on the walls. No words need to be said, really. And then they had some other stone pictures as well. And mind you, I'm not going to act like I know everything about this particular site and this civilization, but I'm calling out the things that stick out to me. Ancestors were the Fez. This is another stone picture. You guys can take this information and go forward and go deeper into what these things mean. Like I said, I didn't go too in depth. I'm covering basics, but I want to see your mind. This is to give you more confidence when you're standing on your square as yourself and knowing that you are Moorish American. You do have ties to this land by heritage. You do have ties to this land by heritage. You are your ancestors without doubt or contradiction. This is before the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is before the United States of America. This is before England. This is before Africa. This is before the Mali Empire. This is before Timbuktu. Please correct me if I'm wrong in my chronological dating. You know what I'm saying? This goes before Kemet. This is before Kemet. Well, I would say this is Kemet right here. So just know that our ancestors were here in 26 BCE, 2600 BCE, building civilizations, building a state, centralized government, architecture, residential living spaces, national character, water affairs. They were, like I said in the previous slide, they didn't have any weapons. Seemed like they were a gentle race. Islam means they live by peace. So understand what you're representing when you wear your fez. When you claim to be who you are, you're claiming to be your ancestors. When you're claiming to go back into your heritage, to wear those things, to do those things that tie you back to who you are, being yourself in that expression. You think the ancestors is dead? Nah, I'm looking at myself right now. They're living through me. We're still here. We still here. And we still rocking our fezzes. And we still rocking with our divine and religious creed. And I gotta say thank you again to Prophet Drew Ali for bringing the information back. Thank you, infinity and beyond. These are some other they were found on some other sites. These are called the Watchmen. They essentially watch over the bay or the valley. And if you pay real close attention, you'll see that they all have headdresses on, or they all have brimless hats. They all have feathers, man. They all rocking the headdress, the so-called brimless hat. Okay. So this is not new to us. This wasn't given to us by people from Turkey or Arabs. This is us. We've been doing this. Our DNA always knew this. Yahweh always knew this. So we always reinvent ways for it to come back. But the truth can only be buried for so long. It has to resurface. It has to. Now, these are some sculptures that were found from the civilizations. First of all, this artwork is dope as hell. This one's real spooky to me because they got the eyes looking like, you know what I'm saying? So I'd imagine this is like a captive or someone who don't know really what's going on. But check out the headdresses. And you see how they have the tassels going down on both sides? So I believe this is what the females wore. Or maybe the high priest. They wore the headdress or the fez or the tarbouche with the tassels, with two long tassels going down on both sides. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Go back. And even down here, this is the same image here. See the headdress? This is a different image. See the headdress? So we ain't no newbies to being Moors. You know what I'm saying? When I say I'm a Moor, I'm not saying it vainly or with empty. I'm not saying that with no substance. I'm not saying that without faith. And faith just means confidence. So I'm not saying that without confidence. I know I'm a Moor. And the more I study, the more affirmance, the more resolve, closure I get in that, to where no one can tell me otherwise because I know my history. The cornet, cornetto, or zinc is an early wind instrument that dates from the medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque periods, popular from 1500 to 1650. It was used in what are now called alta capellas, or wind ensembles. It is not to be confused with the trumpet like cornet. The sound of the cornet is produced by lip vibrations against a cup mouthpiece. A cornet consists of a conical wooden pipe covered in leather. It is about 24 inches long and has finger holes and a small horn or ivory mouthpiece. So as you can see, we were also into music because we was making instruments too. And this is a picture of what a cornet looked like. This is the modern day cornets, of course, but this is what they found in 2600 BCE. Our ancestors were making this. It's deep, man. Real deep. Featured image, the ancient city of Corral. So these are some sources you guys can check out. You know what I'm saying? To get more clarity. Sources. Okay? So, that being said, let's get back here. So I essentially wanted to give that presentation because that was an eye-opener for me when I was watching the presentation given by Brother Ishmael Bey. So I wanted to pay it forward and do the same. So, there you have it. Just wanted to give that to you so you have more confidence in who you are and the history, and to know that we've been here since 2600 BCE, further beyond that. But the fact that we were here, like I said, around the same time as ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt and Kemet, so they say, because science is claiming, or was claiming, that those are the ancient civilizations or the first civilizations of the planet. That is no longer the case. That is no longer the case. You know what I'm saying? America has now shown through archaeological science that we were here, building, expressing our nationality, expressing our culture, wearing our headdresses, and we were doing what we do, which is build and live in harmony and peace with nature and each other. So we was doing that 2600 BCE. So in so-called 2017 Gregorian calendar, when you see a group of Moors demonstrating or expressing the culture in the nationality and that they know who they are and it's solid from the heart, then just know that we know who we are, whether you know who we are or not. So all these games, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people on YouTube or wherever, plebiscites, wherever they are, they want to play these games as if Moors are rebels, we're reckless, we're so-called, we're sovereign citizens, which we are not. We are absolutely not sovereign citizens. We are the national people of the land. So in order to get right, we got to line up with the law. Okay? So don't think that just because we're finding out about these things now, that these things weren't already known. It's been documented in history that we are the original people here, that we weren't all brought over here from Africa, that majority of us were here already. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. A lot of us were taken from here and shipped out to so-called Africa and Europe. You know what I'm saying? So that's where so-called a lot of us disappeared to. A lot of those people or those natives were taken out from America right here. And through that slideshow presentation, you can see that we was already here doing this way before Columbus, way before any so-called European invasion or anything like that. We were living in peace amongst each other. Okay, and you can tell by the stones when you pay attention. You look at the nose features, broad noses, and locks coming out the back of their fez. Coming out the back of their head with the fez on top. No one forced them to etch those into stone. Okay, so let's be real with the history, the knowledge. We can't stay stuck in the old information. The new information is, or I should say, the old information is being renewed, meaning it's being resurfaced. So as it's being resurfaced, we need to update. But it's just funny to me how as the new information is surfacing, it's just giving more of a emphasis on the fact that we are Moors. And for all those people who want to give contradictions about the Pan-Africans and we're Africans and we're not Moors, Moors were given that name by Europeans. Like, stop it. Stop it. Most ancient civilization on the planet may be in America and not Africa. Like I said, ancient Mesopotamia dates back as far as 10,000 BCE. Remember, 10,000 BCE is a lot earlier. It's a lot earlier. Or I should say it's a lot later. Okay, in 26 BCE. 26 BCE, you'll hit that first before you hit 10,000 BCE. Remember, you got to count backwards. So 26,000, you're going to hit that first before you hit 10,000 BCE. Just saying, Mesopotamia, that civilization was started around 10,000 BCE. That's still 16,000. That's still 1,600 years before that. We're talking about the Norte de Chica civilization. Wearing fezzes, living in peace, harmony, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, practicing commerce, building, providing the basics, food, water, and shelter. So we were doing this. So don't let anyone tell you any different. When they say we're not Moors or this, or we're rebels, or we're, you know, we're not from, we're from Africa. I'm not knocking Africa. What I'm saying is we have history here that is just as rich, if not more rich, than what is in Africa, and we keep ignoring it. Stop ignoring it. Stop ignoring our estate. Stop ignoring our inheritance. Stop ignoring our mystery and our culture. Stop ignoring that shit and bypassing where your feet is at to go look over in Africa. Stop it. That's essentially what I'm saying. It's time to stop it and actually allow your mind to be able to expand so you can bring in more information and more clarity on who you are. How you gonna find out who you are if you're always looking in motherfucking Africa? And your shit's right here, under your feet. It's right here under your feet. All right. Everyone knows that the West Indians, or the people in the Caribbean islands, they migrated from South America. I just told you the most ancient civilization, the first civilization in America, is founded in Peru. Peru's in South America. So those were the people who was chilling before they decided to drift off and go into the islands. Like Haiti, like Bahamas, like Grenada, like Puerto Rico, like like Dominican Republic, like Jamaica, right? Like the Bahamas. So I'm just saying, stop overlooking our history. It's pretty fucking dope. And when you understand the history about here, it makes you have even more energy, more charge when you go out there. Like for me, knowing what I know now, it gives me more of the when I walk out with my fez on. Because I know where it come from. I know where I come from. I know what I was doing in 2600 BCE. I was being myself, to myself, in peace and harmony. So I want to recreate that again. Because we are our ancestors without doubt contradiction. So I wear my fez proudly. I wear my fez proudly. Because don't think for a second the rest of the world don't know who we are. They know. Because they study history. They're actually getting this history. It's only over here in North America where we get this dumbass Rockefeller educational system poured down our poor babies' ears. It's horrible. Because exactly what we just spoke about, their goal is to keep us away from that. They don't want us thinking that we from here. They want us thinking we from Africa. So we always be looking over there while they're taking up all our resources from underneath our feet. That's what I really can't stand about it. That's why I'm like, homeschool is the best thing. Homeschool your children. And you can have options. You have the option to, you can choose which classes you want your child to go. So if you want to focus on, or you want to be the main focus of English, you can send your child just for math, science, art, and then they can come home for English with you. Get that real knowledge, that real culture, that real history, not that bullshit black stuff. Black don't got no culture. You ain't gonna find that being black. I would have never found that being black. Never. I would have never found that being black. Here. Because I expanded and allowed my DNA to take over, allowed Yahweh to take over and bringing me to the truth. And they showed me that I'm on the right path. So I just wanted to leave y'all with that, family. Like I said, with that, if anybody wants the PowerPoint, just email me at suneluniversity@gmail.com. Please put in the header PowerPoint and just let me know if you're interested in the ancient civilization PowerPoint. Right, that's what it'll be titled, Ancient Civilization PowerPoint. So if you're interested in that, just like I said, email me. I can take all payments via PayPal. Just a ten note donation, and I'll email the PowerPoint right on over to you. All right. So with that, fam, thank you. It's your brother Cool. Appreciate the support. I will have information continuing to come. You know, I'm gaining information through experience, and as I gain it and master it, I give it to you guys. So thank you for rocking with me. Um, and there's gonna be more information coming, more information to build and grow. All right. So with that, Islam, peace, love, and light.